The People's Verdict 2027. Is everything fair in Nigeria's politics? An editorial on leadership's concern, performance, and public's decision. Power is transient, but legacy is permanent. The function of human being is to live, not merely to exist. But what is living's cost in Nigeria of today? And does it really worth being led? In a land of blind people, one-eyed man leads them well. In a system of corruption, the people are constantly in jeopardy. The degree to which they become obsessed with power is often influenced by the people around them. The same people who motivate us, encourage us, and sometimes convince us that reforms is the ultimate measure of relevance. But the truth is simple. No one is powerful by himself. Power is granted by the people, institutions, circumstances, and time, and no human being occupies this earth forever. Your followers makes you influential. Your platform gives you visibility. Your position gives you authority, but none of these things guarantees permanence. Sadly, power is transient. Human beings eventually become memories. The question, therefore, is not whether you will be remembered. The question is, how will you be remembered? Will you be remembered for corruption? Will you be remembered for hardship? Will you be remembered for oppression? Or will you be remembered for the positive impact you made on the lives of ordinary people? What legacy will you leave behind? Today, former President Umaru Yar'Adua is widely remembered by many Nigerians as a man associated with humility and relatively modest political disposition. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, on the other hand, remains a deeply mistaken figure in public memory. These are examples of how political power eventually gives way to historical judgments. The analysis I will use to describe the style of leadership I perceive in this present administration is this. Imagine someone who wants to build a magnificent house but has no capital to finance it. Instead of first securing the resources himself, he expects everyone around him to contribute towards building the house. That, to me, is democracy, a system in which the burdens of governance are increasingly transferred to the people, while the government continues to demand their patience and sacrifice. That is what I call democracy. That is what this administration practices. It is only an analogy, but it captures the question that Nigerians should be asking. Who is ultimately paying the price for the government's reform? Don't forget that former President Jonathan did not remove the fuel subsidy, yet he was not re-elected. Muhammadu Buhari was elected largely on a promise of fighting corruption and changing the direction of the country. By the gullible anyways, not by me. But when electoral manipulation, institutional weaknesses, and political supremacy begins to dominate the democratic process, public opinion loses its power. What we appear to have normalized today is a strange form of political fairness in which insecurity, hardship, corruption, and economic suffering are treated as though they are simply the unavoidable rules of the game. But it's wickedness, fear in politics. Like the President Tinubu said, knowing fully that politics is run by people, is hardship fear in politics when the lives of the people are involved? Is corruption fear in politics? Nothing is fair, Mr. President, than when the election is not rigged. Nothing is fair than the public's opinion when it is utmost. That is fairness. If democracy is built on constitutional principles, accountability, justice, and fairness, not merely political opinions, then we should stop pretending that every political action is acceptable simply because it is politically convenient for APC members, I believe. We have turned wickedness into a political game. And perhaps the most dangerous thing is that we are gradually becoming comfortable with it. Mr. President, what have you done for Nigerians that should make them want to reciprocate with their votes? What have you done for the public? We are not talking about APC members. We are not talking about some sect of people. What have you done for Nigeria? Yes, some poor Nigerians may still vote for you. Some Christians may still vote for you. Some religious leaders may support you. Most Muslim clerics will still vote for you. Some members of APC will certainly vote for you. Will Pastor Adeboye and some RCCG pastors and deaconesses vote for you? But the bigger question is this: will Nigerians as a whole vote for you? Enough of this propaganda. Reality is happening every day in marketplaces, filling stations, roads, in traffics, on the streets of Nigeria. Nigerians are dealing with consequences of so many things: taxation, rising electricity cost, fuel price pressure, economic hardship, unemployment, insecurity, and allegations surrounding the management of public resources. And when corruption allegations arise around government spending, government budgets, procurement, or public institutions, Nigerians deserve clear answers, not political slogans. But can answer come from those who started the question, especially on accountability? A reform cannot simply become a new vocabulary for hardship. A reform should produce measurable improvement in the lives of citizens. Simple as ABC. Do not make the mistake of believing that initiatives such as rice and money distributions, more state governors, student loans, or the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway by themselves are enough to guarantee political re-election come 2027. Do not make that mistake of believing such. Nigerians are not voting for English. They are voting for their lives. They are voting for food on their tables. They are voting for security. They are voting for electricity. They are voting for jobs. They are voting for dignity, not corruption. They are voting for integrity. They are voting for a country in which their children can have a future. And that is why political communications cannot permanently substitute for tangible results. That is the nature of democracy. People do not always vote for perfection. Sometimes they vote against what they no longer want. That's what happens. Your title may last for a few months or few days in office, but political office eventually comes to an end. Always. The question is, when that time comes, will you accept defeat peacefully? Will you accept the people's decision if they choose another leader for themselves? Will you place the survival of Nigerians above your personal political ambition? Will you accept an electoral loss, even if you strongly believe you deserve another term? Everybody deserves another term. Now we know that Jonathan deserves another term. These are not accusations. They are questions that every political leader should be willing to answer. Will you accept? I choose to examine the possibilities before they become realities. The EndSARS protests were a tragedy for many Nigerians. Lives were lost, properties were destroyed, and the country witnessed one of the most significant expressions of youth frustration in recent Nigerian history. Yet many Nigerians continue to believe that the fundamental issues that produce that anger have not been adequately resolved till today. And that raises another uncomfortable questions. If the same conditions that produce that anger return, what happens next? Let us also be precise. EndSARS was fundamentally a protest movement. It should not automatically be described as a revolution or an insurrection. A protest is collective action by citizens demanding change. But revolution is something far more profound, a fundamental transformation of political or social structures. History gives us examples such as the American Revolution, the Cuban Revolution, and the Chinese Revolution. They were wars, they were not protests. The question Nigerians should be asking is not whether we want a revolution. The question is, why should any nation allow its citizen to become so frustrated that revolution begins to look like the only remaining language of change? Hardship, pain, corruption, insecurity, and economic crisis can create conditions in which civil unrest becomes increasingly difficult to control. Does this administration know that? That is why responsible leadership should address grievances before they become combustible. There is an old African wisdom that reminds us that we may know how conflict begins, but we cannot always predict how it ends. That should concern every responsible leader. Lives has been lost in Nigerian previous protests, communal conflict, terrorism, banditry, and encounters between citizens and security agencies. Power without accountability eventually becomes a threat to everyone, including those who possess it. Mr. President, will you accept defeat if you lose? Will you put Nigerians above your political ambition? Do Nigerian lives matter to you? These are difficult questions, but they are legitimate questions. If anyone truly does not care about Nigeria, then that person should not aspire to lead Nigerians. Nigeria is not a personal inheritance. Nigeria is not the property of any ethnic group. Nigeria is not the possession of Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, or any other group. Nigeria belongs to Nigerians. We are not Cameroonians. We are not Ugandans. We are not a country where political leaders should become a permanent family inheritance. Our democracy must be stronger than any individual. Consider the video of this dog staring intensely at a large roasted chicken displayed on a food poster. Can you see the video of this dog? The chicken is visible. The smell may almost seems real. The abundance appears to be right there, but the dog cannot eat it. That image captures something important about modern Nigeria. We are constantly shown the appearance of prosperity while millions of citizens struggle to experience its substance. A nation entranced by the illusion of prosperity while the substance of hope remains perpetually beyond reach. Or perhaps Nigeria, perpetually mesmerized by the spectacle of abundance, yet perennially deprived of its tangible reality. That, perhaps, is one of the strongest reasons citizens may decide to vote against an incumbent government. Not because of ethnicity, not because of religion, not because of tribal sentiment, but because they are tired. This is not about Yoruba, this is not about Igbo, Hausa, Fulani, or anyone, but it is about Nigeria. President Tinubu lost Lagos in the 2023 presidential election, despite Lagos being the political environment where he had historically exercised enormous influence. He lost there. That alone should remind every politician that political loyalty is not permanent. Today, Nigerians are dealing with tax reforms, electricity charges, fuel price pressure, economic hardship, insecurity, and whatever you can call it. Allegations of corruption and controversy surrounding government policies. Come 2027, these issues will ultimately shape how citizens judge the administration. It's not by rice giving, it's not by money. Just know this. It's not by vote buying, not speeches, not slogans, not propaganda. People will not use that as a yardstick to vote. And if the people conclude that the government has failed them, they have every democratic right to vote for someone else. That is not hatred. That is democracy. The lesson should be simple. Do not use the blood of Nigerians to wash away the failures of Nigerian leaders. And whatever happens politically, let peace reign. If you lose, accept it. If you win without rigging, govern for everyone, not you. If the people reject you, respect their decision. Because the office of president belongs to Nigeria, not for any individual. The office of INEC belongs to Nigeria, not Mr. Amukpito. The office of EFCC belongs to Nigerians, not any other chairman. Do you believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu deserves a second term? If you believe he deserves another chance, let me know in the comment section. This is not about tribe. This is not about religion. This is about Nigeria. I remain my humble self, whatever you call me, on Broda Journal series, where truth is acknowledged while silence is felt. See you next Thursday, and bye for now.